Welcome to today's webinar for NCHEC Multiple Event Providers. I'm Melissa Schmel, the Continuing Education Coordinator at NCHEC, and joining me today is Linda Lysobi, the Executive Director, and Cynthia Nahr, the Credentialing Project Specialist, and they'll be moderating and helping me answer questions. Thanks for taking your time out of your busy schedules to join us today. We have many providers that have been providing credits for NCHEC for years, and others who are new to NCHEC, so we welcome everyone. Today we want to accomplish three things in this webinar. One, to briefly describe and review the MEP responsibilities. Two, to discuss the continuing competency requirements. And three, answer any questions you may have regarding the MEP responsibilities or the new continuing competency requirements. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the webinar, so feel free to submit your questions at any time in the chat box. Thanks for being an NCHEC provider. We currently have 105 MEP providers. They have awarded over 100,000 Category 1 credits last year to our 14,500 active CHES and MCHES. And there are currently 1,100 events or courses listed on the NCHEC website. We couldn't do what we do without your events, courses, and reporting. So how do you determine if your event or course is eligible for CECH for CHES or MCHES? The first thing is the learning objectives must relate to the 7 areas of responsibility of health education specialists and/or subcompetencies. And the second thing is an active CHES or MCHES must review the event or course learning objectives. There are 2 types of events that MEP providers can award credit for. The first is a live event. It's a program that can be attended in person. Conferences, workshops, seminars, or webinars would be considered live events. An evaluation asking if the learning objectives were met should be administered after the event. A self-study is a course that is completed at one's own pace. There can be paper-based or web-based courses. Participants must complete and pass a quiz in order to receive credit. One CECH is equivalent to 1 60-minute period of instruction. For multiple session events, add all the minutes before rounding to the nearest quarter hour. Live events, hours are awarded based on time in educational sessions, and self-studies are based on the average time it takes to complete the course. Self-studies must be at least 30 minutes in length to award continuing education contact hours. We no longer require rounding to the nearest half hour. Our database is now able to calculate quarter hours, so feel free to adjust your courses accordingly. After all events or courses, a certificate of attendance should be awarded with the participant's name, CHES or MCHES ID number, the number of credits, and your provider ID number. NCHEC requires that the designation statement be on your certificates. Including this, as well as your provider ID number, makes it easy for NCHEC to identify who offered the course or program and verify the credits that with the provider when necessary. Certificates should be updated to include how many continuing competency credits are awarded. We don't expect your certificates to be updated immediately. However, we would appreciate if they could include the continuing competency wording by July 1st, 2019. We will be providing the exact wording to you in the near future. Entry-level versus advanced level credit. When the MCHES credential was initially introduced, credits were referred to as CHES and MCHES. We have noticed that this has caused some confusion for both providers and certificates. NCHEC prefers you use the wording of entry-level and advanced level rather than CHES or MCHES. Some believe that only MCHES can receive advanced level credit and therefore don't award advanced level credit for CHES. If a CHES or MCHES participates in an advanced level activity, they both can receive credit. In our system will convert advanced level credits to entry level for CHES and MCHES will receive the breakdown of both entry and advanced level credits on their transcript. Entry-level credits can be awarded when the learning objectives relate to at least one of the 7 areas of responsibility of health education specialists. Advanced level credits can be awarded if the learning objectives clearly align with the advanced level subcompetencies. Advanced level credits are not awarded based on the participant's certification. Just because a person is MCHES, they do not routinely receive advanced level credits. You can find the current list of subcompetencies on the NCHEC website. And the advanced level are the ones highlighted in yellow or blue. Here are a few examples of what NCHEC looks for when awarding advanced level credits for a session. The wording in the learning objective should align with the wording in the advanced level subcompetency that it is linked to. So, for example, the program objectives are provide motivational enhancement matched to the client's stage of change, and that would match with area 3.3.2 where you apply theories or models of implementation. And the second one is design contingency management techniques for specific target behaviors, use cognitive, behavioral, or therapeutic techniques. This will relate to 2.3.3, apply principles of evidence-based practice in selecting or designing strategies for interventions. Let's talk a little bit about reporting. MEP providers are required to report quarterly. It's important to report on schedule so we can update transcripts for CHES and MCHES in a timely manner. If you need to delay your report for any reason, please contact me. Please use the reporting template that is provided by NCHEC. The format of the form allows me to upload credits directly into the database. Fill all cells and don't include blank lines or highlighting when completing the form. A new template will be provided in the near future that enables you to report the continuing competency credits. The reporting dates are January 15th, April 15th, July 15th, and October 15th of each year. NCHEC providers can have their events or courses posted to the NCHEC website free of charge. You also have access to NCHEC mailing list, which includes email addresses as well as physical addresses. You can use the new program template to request program ID numbers for your programs. You can also indicate whether the event is to be posted to the NCHEC website. We prefer the new program template is sent with the quarterly reporting so you have program ID numbers for the next quarter, but they can be sent anytime during the quarter to obtain a program ID number for events or courses that may be developed in the meantime. Instructions are provided with direction on how to complete the form. I'd like to transition now to provide you with some history on the new continuing competence requirement for CHES and MCHES and how it will affect providers. NCHEC's definition of continuing competency is: continuing competency entails the demonstration of specified levels of knowledge, skills, or ability, not only at the time of initial certification, but throughout an individual's professional career. The NCHEC recertification requirements will demonstrate the continuing competency of a certified or master certified health education specialist, as well as demonstrating a career commitment to the professional development and growth that represents an NCHEC credential. Historically, certification programs in health professions concentrated mainly on initial certification and readiness for practice. Over time, the focus has grown to include the recertification process and ongoing professional development in order to improve quality of service and to protect the public as well from a surge of industry growth. More recently, the measurement of the continuing competency of certified individuals has become a critical part of standards for the certification industry, with the driving thought being that it is critical to assess a certified professional's competence not only once, but during the initial examination also throughout the course of the practitioner's career. As an organization with 30 years of history, we take our esteemed accreditations by NCCA and IAS ISO 17024 very seriously. In order to demonstrate compliance with their current accreditation standards, the measurement of a certificant's ongoing commitment to professional development has become an essential factor in the maintenance of the CHES and MCHES certification. So why do we need an assessment of continuing competency? Continuing competency measurements will demonstrate the commitment and professional development of a CHES or MCHES and is required due to recent changes in national and international accreditation standards. An assessment of continuing competency has become a necessary component of our NCCA and IAS accreditation standards. NCHEC is dedicated to meeting public expectations about the competency of practicing CHES and MCHES in the workforce, and continuing competency requirements are quality assurance measurement that will enhance the value of certification of this profession. In March of 2017, the NCHEC Board of Commissioners voted to include a measurement of continuing competency as part of the recertification for both CHES and MCHES in order to meet national and international accreditation standards, to enhance public perception of certified practitioners in the field, and to promote best practices in the health education and promotion industry. Many other organizations are requiring an assessment of continuing competency through a subsequent examination. Our Board of Commissioners felt that, considering the work that health education specialists do, different mechanisms to assess competency was both possible and practical. Many of the Category 1 credit opportunities you as providers are offering already fall within the new guidelines for continuing competency, such as self-studies, webinars, professional readings with an end-of-study assessment, and workshops with teachbacks, demonstration of skills, or written assessments. There will also be a Category 2 option for CHES and MCHES. The Category 2 assessment option gives the ability to provide CHES with a means to receive credit for the work they are doing on a daily basis in their place of employment. And even if they are self-employed, through a Category 2 performance assessment, which will count as a full 5 continuing competency credits. So when does this requirement begin? It will begin on April 1st, 2019 for CHES and MCHES who begin a new certification cycle on April 1st, 2019, or those who pass the exam in April 2019. CHES and MCHES will have 5 full years to complete their continuing competency requirements. 5 out of the 75 credits must be continuing competency. It is not in addition to the 75 credits. So the earliest that continuing competency requirements will be due is March of 2024. Continuing competency requirements will be phased in for each cohort during subsequent recertification exam cycles. For example, October 2019 will be the next cycle that it will be phased in, and subsequently for the next 5 years. So what is the new requirement? CHES and MCHES will need 5 continuing competency contact education credit hours during the course of their 5-year cycle. These 5 credits will be part of the 75 total CECH. The total number of CECH credits certificates need will not increase. Continuing competency credits will be available either as Category 1 or Category 2 CECH. Certificates do not need both. A measurement of a CHES or MCHES's continuing competency during his or her 5-year recertification cycle will include either 1, an assessment or quiz by a provider of Category 1 CECH, or an evaluation of job duties by a supervisor, which is Category 2 CECH. Category 1 continuing competency opportunities will be searchable on the NCHEC website beginning on April 1st, 2019. Many of the Category 1 CECH that you are already offering will count as continuing competency credits, such as self-studies, webinars, and professional readings with an end-of-study assessment, workshops, teachbacks, and demonstrations of skills. Providers will be required to report continuing competency to NCHEC. An updated reporting form will be provided to you prior to second quarter reporting. Continuing competency Category 1 credit activities will be searchable on the NCHEC website at nchec.org under credit activities, beginning on April 1st. A new program is being developed and tested and will be sent to providers as soon as it is available. Providers will need to indicate on the new program template that the event course is offering continuing competency credits. Certificants will be looking for these credits, so it might be a distinguisher for people looking for events or courses to complete the requirement. NCHEC is very dedicated to meeting public expectations about the competence of practitioners in the field of health education and promotion, and we are proud to say that our CHES and MCHES designations remain a symbol of the highest levels of competence in the health education and promotion workforce. Provider requirements for continuing competency. Providers are not required to award continuing competency credits. However, we highly encourage you to do so, as CHES and MCHES will be looking for these opportunities to fulfill this requirement. If you offer self-studies that have an assessment, these would already be eligible to award continuing competency credits. We are currently working on getting the continuing competency updated in our database for all existing self-study courses. Conference sessions may need some adjustments to award continuing competency credits. If your session will include a continuing competency component or assessment, please keep in mind that the assessment or quiz questions should be directly linked to at least one area of responsibility or advanced level subcompetency. Types of continuing competency assessment questions can include discussion or written assessment questions or multiple choice assessment questions. So here are some frequently asked questions. What's the advantage of continuing competency requirements for providers of CECH? All CHES and MCHES will need to locate CECH that evaluate continuing competency in order to recertify. If a provider offers continuing competency opportunities, it will be more attractive to those seeking credits. Providers who offer continuing competency credits will receive no-cost advertising for their programs on the NCHEC website. Many of our provider activity offerings will already be in compliance with continuing competency guidelines. What's the minimum requirement for a provider? Providers can determine the best method of assessing continuing competency is based on the content or structure of their CE activities. While it is not mandatory, it is highly recommended by NCHEC as a quality assurance mechanism to ensure a high level of competence in the health education workforce. NCHEC will not be involved with approving assessment quizzes or questions. We believe that our providers are best equipped to evaluate the certificates. We will, however, be willing to review any assessment documents you develop if you have any questions. In summary, NCHEC providers will need to determine which of their CECH opportunities will fulfill the measurement of the continuing competency of registrant of a registrant and to submit a record of these opportunities to NCHEC with the new program template that will be issued before second quarter reporting. Providers can independently determine the best method of assessing continuing competency based on the content or structure of their continuing education opportunities. NCHEC will not be involved with approving assessments, quizzes, or questions. We strongly believe that our providers are best equipped to evaluate certificates. Continuing competence requirements began on April 1st, 2019 with a phased-in requirement date for recertification. Continuing competency reporting by providers is not mandatory. However, all CHES and MCHES will need to locate CECH that evaluate continuing competency in order to recertify. If a provider offers continuing competence opportunities, it will be more attractive to those seeking credits. Lastly, providers who offer continuing competency credits will receive no-cost advertising for their programs on the NCHEC website. Thanks again for partnering with NCHEC to provide credits for CHES and MCHES. I hope the information that was presented today was helpful to you. We will now take some questions and take some time to answer your questions.
Okay, we have a couple of questions here, Melissa, and the first one is from Flora, and it says, would it be possible to have a template of certificate of attendance from NCHEC?
We do have a sample in the MEP guidelines, but we are going to be working on updating our whole provider requirements and guidelines, and so we will include a new template in that update.
Okay, here's another question from Suzanne. Will these slides be available following this presentation?
Yes, we're recording the webinar, and I'm planning on sending it out to all providers after the webinar.
All right. Another question, can you elaborate on the category competency when we are applying for credit hours? Do we continue using the old forms or wait for new ones?
Can you read that one more time?
Sure. Can you elaborate on the category competency when we are applying for credit hours?
Sure. There will be a specific column on the new template that will be provided shortly. I have just a little bit of testing, and then it should be available to you. You would just indicate in that continuing competency column that you're awarding those credits, and it will be posted on the website as well as in the information about the course. So I'm hoping to have that template and both templates, the reporting and the new program template, to you in the very near future.
Right. One more question. As providers, can we deny to offer credits based on the objectives of the event?
I think what you're asking is if the learning objectives for the event don't align with the areas of responsibility of a health education specialist, that you don't need to award credits for that course or event, and that would be true. In order to, you could deny that if someone submits something to you that's not related to the areas of responsibility, you could say that it is not eligible for CHES credits.
Great. Another question is, I'm not totally clear on what the new info means. When will we receive documentation?
Okay. There was a document attached with the invitation. I can resend that when I send out the webinar, the recorded webinar. I'll send that out, as well as we are working on updating all provider information, so it'll be in there as well. There's also on the website, if you would go to the Continuing Education tab, in the drop-down, there's a whole section on continuing competency, so that would give you some information on the requirements that CHES and MCHES are required for. So that would help you to gain some knowledge about continuing competency in general. If you have any specific questions, just email me and I can, or call me and I can help answer those more directly.
Right, and our final question says, if we have live courses happening in April that we already submitted, how do we give them continuing competency credit?
Okay. You could review it again, and if you have a way to assess those your participants, either specific sessions, or if it's like a webinar, if there's a way to give an assessment at the end of the webinar, you can just submit that information to me again, and I would update that in the system.
Okay, there's one more. Are there any immediate changes before quarter reports are due on April 15th?
No, nothing will change for the April 15th reporting. It'll all be the same as it was in the past. And so what I'm planning to do for the next reporting period, the July reporting period, is have new documentation for you with instructions on how to complete the forms. And, you know, feel free to reach out to me anytime with any questions you might have.
And that was our final question, Melissa.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Cynthia and Linda, for being on the call with us. And if anyone has any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm here to answer any questions and help you through the process. And I just want to thank you all for your continued support of the CHES and MCHES credential. We truly appreciate all that you do for them. And I hope everyone has a great day. And I'll be sending out a reminder soon about the quarterly reports. Thank you.